Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we will study a poem, The Donkey, by Gilbert Keith Chesterton. So let's get started. Gilbert Keith Chesterton. The timeline is given 1874 to 1936. Now, as always, I will take a start from the brief introduction of the poet. He was a copious writer with a wide range. Copious means abundant, rich. Achieving distinction as a novelist, short story writer, essayist, poet, and critic. So you should remember that he was a poet, he was a short story writer, he was an essayist, he was a poet, he was a critic as well. He was born in London and educated at St. Paul's School, London, and studied art at the Slade School. All right, so this was the brief introduction of the poet G.K. Chesterton. First, the words and meanings in this specific poem. Fig, fig is a fruit. Errant, going in a wrong direction. Parody, imitation. Crooked will, cruel actions, bad deeds, bad intentions. Scourge, to whip, to punish. Whipping means kode marna. Deride, to ridicule or to treat with contempt. To treat with hatred, dislike, lack of respect. Now the central idea of this poem, which is somehow linked to the title of this poem, The Donkey. Why donkey? Actually, this poem is written about a humble donkey who is proud of himself. Why? Let me read it out for you, because it is manifested in the very central idea or theme of the poem. The humble donkey is proud of himself because when Christ made his last and triumphant, successful, victorious entry into Jerusalem, he was riding a donkey. So when Christ entered into Jerusalem, it is the name of a place, he was riding a donkey. So that's why G.K. Chesterton has written this poem on a donkey, that donkey is proud of himself. Why? Because Christ was riding it. So that's why donkey is humble, plus he is proud of himself. Okay? So this poem is basically about a donkey, specific donkey, on which Christ was riding. Girls, if you could see in the first line, let me read it out for you. When fishes flew and forests walked, fishes flew, forests. F, F, F. Now this is called alliteration. When I was teaching you elements of poetry, I discussed with you, rather I explained it in detail, that what is alliteration? Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sound in the beginning of nearby words. So when the consonant sound, it is repeated in the beginning of the nearby words, it is called alliteration. You see, F, F, F. Fishes flew, forests. F, F, F. This is called alliteration. You should note it down with you, because this is a figure of speech which is used here. Okay? And then in third stanza, third line, this line, starve, scourge, S, S. This is also alliteration. Consonant sound is repeated in the beginning. S, S. Starve, scourge. All right? So this is called alliteration. 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 Okay, girls, now I will proceed. Kindly open your books in front of you. It's page number 38. The Donkey by Gilbert Chesterton. Let me read it out for you. When fishes flew and forests walked, and figs grew upon thorn, some moment when the moon was blood, then surely I was born. Now in this poem, the speaker is Donkey himself. Donkey talks about himself that when he was made, it was at that time, it was a very different, very unusual and strange kind of environment. You see, when fishes flew is the second form of fly, and forests walked. So the world was in very strange phase of creation at that time. And figs grew upon thorn. Figs, fruit, grew upon thorn, spikes. Some moment when the moon was blood, red moon. You see, it's very unusual. Then surely I was born. So the donkey, he talks about himself that when he was born, the world was in a very strange phase of creation. And at that time, it was very unusual and mysterious environment when he was born. The moon was red, fishes were flying, forests were walking. So this is very strange and unusual. Okay? Grotesque. You will come across this word in the exercise. Grotesque. It means weird, unusual. Okay. So, when fishes flew and forests walked, and figs grew upon thorn, some moment when the moon was blood, then surely I was born. All right? I hope it's clear now. Next. With monstrous head and sickening cry. Monstrous head, big head, enormous head, huge head. Now his description is given, the description of donkey. He considers himself as creature who is always given hatred and dislike by people. You see, donkeys, they are never considered as important or beautiful. They are always considered as ugly and unimportant creatures. So this is what his own view about himself. With monstrous head and sickening cry. Monstrous head, big, enormous head. And sickening cry, harsh, loud cry. Usually this cry of a donkey, this which is a loud and very harsh cry of a donkey, it is called bray, B-R-A-Y, braying. Okay, the braying of a donkey is that harsh and loud cry of donkey, braying, B-R-A-Y-I-N-G. And ears like errant wings, errant, going in a wrong direction. So what he says about himself, what the donkey says, as donkey is the speaker of this poem, he says, he has monstrous head, huge, ugly, big head, and sickening cry, very harsh, unpleasant cry or voice. And his ears, they are like wings which have gone into wrong directions. So in simple words, he is of the view that his ears are not shaped properly. They are with irregular shape. The devil's walking parody on all four-footed things. So, according to him, he is a humorous imitation of the devil. Okay, imitation means copying. So, the devil's walking parody. So, according to him, the donkey is a humorous imitation of the devil. Just like his physical description is, as far as his physical description is concerned, he resembles devil, ugly monster, you can say, devil. Okay? So he thinks as if the face of devil is copied on four-footed thing, four-footed creature with 4 feet. Okay? The tattered outlaw of the earth. The tattered, poor. Okay? Outlaw of the earth, rule of the earth. What is nature's rule? That donkeys, they are often ill-used. They are always burdened by their masters. Isn't it? I hope you people will agree with me. Of ancient crooked will, cruel actions. starve, scourge, deride me, I'm dumb. So, what does the master do? Master often starves donkey, beats him, laughs at him. Starving, it's related to hunger. Scourge, to whip, to punish. Deride me, ridicule me, to treat with hatred and dislike. So donkeys, they are always starved by their masters. They are always burdened. Okay? Their masters beat them, and they are always ridiculed by people. So that's why the donkey says, starve, scourge, deride me, I'm dumb. I'm dumb, I cannot speak. So that's why this world is cruel to us. I keep my secret still. But still, after all these cruel actions of ancient crooked will, old cruel actions, after all these cruel actions, what are those cruel actions? Starve, scourge, and deride. Starvation is related to hunger. Scourge, punishment. Deride, ridicule, hatred, dislike, lack of respect. So after all these cruel actions, the donkey still remains silent. So he has some secret with him. And what is that? Let's find out. Fools! For I also had my hour, one far fierce hour sweet. There was a shout about my ears and palms before my feet. Now, in the first three stanzas, donkey was describing the negative attitude of people or masters, or you can say that even the donkey himself, he has a very negative kind of image about himself. But in the last stanza, it's different from the first three stanzas. Why? Because in this stanza, the donkey is revealing a secret. And what is that secret? That he was also respected. He is also important. Why? Fools, for I also had my hour. He says, "O fools of this world, I was once respected." And when? One far fierce hour sweet. And that hour and that moment and that time was very intense and sweet. So he's calling people fools, ignorant, those who don't know about his secret, about donkey's secret. And what is that secret? That he was once respected, and that hour, that time, that moment was very sweet and intense. There was a shout about my ears and palms before my feet. Now here comes the theme or central idea of this poem, that humble donkey is proud about himself. Why? Because when Christ made his last triumphant entry into Jerusalem, he was riding a donkey. So there was a shout about my ears. People welcomed Christ with shouts, cries of happiness. So Christ was riding on a donkey when he entered the city of Jerusalem. And palms before my feet. Now the donkey says he was respected. Why? Because when Christ entered the city of Jerusalem, Christ was riding a donkey. And there was, or you can say, they were cordially welcomed by people over there. And palms before my feet. And donkey also says that people threw palm leaves before donkey's feet in respect, because Christ was riding a donkey. So this was donkey's secret, and this was the central idea or theme of this poem. Okay, so I will share question answers in the WhatsApp group. If you do not understand anything, you may ask me. Don't feel hesitant. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.